Well, a very good morning to you. Welcome to Natasha Makes. It's not often that I get ideas that I then doubt. Yeah, today might be one of them. My team are quite used to me coming up with harebrained screams and they laugh, how they laugh, and then they realise I'm deadly serious and go, oh, that's happening then, is that? Yeah, we'll just do that, it'd be great, it'd be amazing. And they humour me, bless them, they're ever so good, they humour me massively, and sometimes they just sit back and watch, for which I'm very grateful. Today, the only comment from Josh was, is the camera angle meant to be like that? I'm like, yep. Yeah, it is. Yeah, it is. So we're going to see what happens today. I am bringing you pet bedding, pet coats, all things pets, which is as hard as trying to basically tailor make anything to any person. Every dog is a different shape, size and what have you. Yeah. So quite the challenge. We have 3 dogs and we have got through numerous dog coats through the years. Some I've made, some I've bought. So yeah, I mean there are all sorts of ways of making and reasons for making dog pet coats, beds, cat beds, rabbit, I don't know, any kind of pet bed that you like. So we're going to have a run through of what fabrics we've got that might be suitable for you, that you might love, and then we will have a run through creating your own pattern, because there's absolutely no point in me doing a medium, large, As an owner of large breeds, I have paid before nearly £100 for a pet coat tailor-made for Eric. When Eric was filming, he had to have warm coats for when he was on location, because if he filmed late, if it was a cold day and he'd been sat in the van before he went on set, he would always have to have warm, dry clothing. And now he's almost 11, which for a Great Dane, you know, if you get above 8, then you've done really well. And the oldest dog recorded Great Dane is 11 and a half. So, you know, he's doing pretty well. He's a little bit wobbly on his back end, but, you know, aren't we all after a glass of wine? So, good morning. Let's see who's with us this morning and who, you know, might witness carnage this morning. Who knows? So we've got Grace and Tracy, good morning, and Jan, hello, and Jacqueline and Heather, hello, and Margaret, good morning, and Sue, hello, and Naomi and Paula and Helen, good morning to you. Margaret says, what? No sewing machine? No, because, well, there is, it's just down here. You'll see. Bear with. Donna says, morning everyone and pets, hello. Andrea and Heather, good morning, and Lisa, good morning. So she said, did I get there? Yes, I did. So Lisa rang me this morning and I didn't manage to answer, and because normally, like, she'll grab me at 4:30 or 5 in the morning and she knows that she can get hold of me. But this morning I was like, I'm up to my ears in pet beds and coats. Why do I have such big animals? And she thought I was joking until I sent a picture. So we've got Leslie and Fiona and Donna and Pam. Good morning. No interruptions today. Hubby has had to go to work. Do you know what? I've never known so many people grateful for their other halves going to work since lockdown. It's one of those things. When my dad retired, my gran, who's my dad's, I don't think he'll be watching so I can tell this story, took my mum to one side and she said, my dear, the marriage vows were for better, for worse. No one mentioned lunch. They want feeding every day. It's true. Good morning, snowy days in Leeds. Ooh, nice. Looks like your bear is wearing his bib. Oh, does it? Yeah, I did wonder that. Now, you see, if he'd had more of a body, I could have put the bib on him. And then I remember that Eric actually has a big bib, my Great Dane. He has a big bib. When we used to take him every year to polo in the park, he always used to come with us, and he was quite the star of the show, bless him, in his younger day. But he always went with his great big dribble bib that just said, big friendly giant. And then everyone knew that it was okay to pet him. Morning Karen, morning Barbara, morning Ali G, morning Sarah, morning Karen, morning Debbie. Carol and Jean, hello. Carol Baxter, could you, if you're watching, just check your emails? I sent you an email this morning. Heather says that her chihuahuas are very excited for coats. Hope they are small enough. Well, do you know what I could have done with a chihuahua, couldn't I? I mean, I've got Emily's stuffed dog here this morning. Damp Northants this morning with Kirsty. Good morning to you. Helen's here and waiting. Wow, we're here. Good morning, Rona. Good morning, Laurie. How are you? Oh, she's loved the hoodie. Do you know what? Hubby bought this for Christmas. Did quite well. Spent last night making face coverings, as I live in one of those areas with the South African variant. So very timely demo yesterday. Oh, I didn't know that there was a South Africa. I don't watch the news because it's depressing, so I don't really know what's going on. I live in my own little bubble. It's quite nice. So only when I talk to my mum on the phone, she's like, and this is happening, and this is happening. I'm like, oh. Well, there's a reason I don't watch the news. It's really quite depressing. Trudy says, Great Dane coats would be great. Well, this is what we're up to today. Morning, April. How are you? How is Australia this morning? And Carol and Sue and another Sue. Sue Mad Hatter Devlin. I love these names that come through. It does make me giggle. I was up binge watching on Netflix last night. At 3 a.m. I went to bed thinking, Natasha will be up soon. Yes, Claire. Yes. In fact, I was up at 3:30 this morning. What were you watching? What had you up until 3 o'clock? That's brave when you're homeschooling as well. I take my hat off to you. Morning Basil, morning Anne-Marie, morning Jane and Lynn and Susie. Yes, Susie, I think Hendrix needs a coat. Just saying. Trying to watch with my 20-month-old godson. Tracy, good luck with that. Hi from a sleety Northumberland. Looking forward to the show today. My two Labradors are excited for their mum to learn new dog bed making skills. Morning everyone. Rosie our cat is excited, needs a new bed and mat. Good morning. All just finished grooming my Sammies, who are both in full shedding mode. Do you know, we are a nation of cat lovers, aren't we? And dog lovers, and it's all good. Diane, retirement equals half the money and husband at home twice the amount. Yeah, well, that's true, isn't it? Yes. Looking forward to the show, but not sure Mr. D will let Hendrix wear any. Good job he doesn't do the walks. Do you know what? That's right, isn't it? That's right. What he doesn't know, just saying. Good morning from Pitt and Wee. My dogs are interested in today's demo. I think there are a lot of dogs that will be interested in today's demo. So let me talk you through my life in dog coats. Morning, Elizabeth. So we have large breeds. As you know, we have got 2 Great Danes and we have also got an Otter Hound. And everybody has different needs. We had a Spaniel for 15 and a half years, and if we ever had his coat, done, then there were times when it was just a bit nippy and he would need a coat. So we've gone through various, and he's had fleece coats, and then he's had waterproof coats, and he's had all sorts of coats. And I dug some of them out. Maud, my Otter Hound, she now walks on a lead. I used to stupidly let her off the lead with a high visibility coat on. But now she has absolutely blotted her copybook after the weekend, where she disappeared for 2.5 hours. She just turned around and looked at me. I couldn't get through the mud fast enough, and then she just went. She nosed down and went. 2.5 hours in the sleet, full-on sleet and snowstorm, looking for this dog. I was, Anyway, so Maud's high visibility coat. Let's look at this. There are lots of extras that you can add onto your coat. What we're going to look at today is how to measure and make a really basic coat. And then in future shows, we will get into all sorts of other bits and bobs, because there are so many different types to make. Now, it might be that, a high vis one. I like this one for Maud because she wears a halter. So the fact that it's got a little hole there for her halter to go through is great. And it's elasticated around the tummy, which when she was growing was absolutely great. Now she's fully grown. don't need that so much anymore. But what I did always like about it was the cut here, because it just meant that there wasn't lots bagging and sagging around there. Eric, where are you going? Eric, where are you off to? And then this was one of Arthur's. Now, I loved this one because it was a wax coat and he was a spaniel and he looked really gorgeous in it, and it had a little collar that you could like turn up. And we'll get on to collars. We're going to do just a plain one today. Things I didn't ever love about this coat, though, were it came really far down his haunches, which meant that either it flapped about or you used to have to put elastic, put his leg through some elastic, which I'm going to be honest, wasn't his favourite thing to have happen. So again, that takes me back to liking the sweep of the former one. And actually, if I'd ever thought about it, I should just have adjusted it so that it swept up like that. But otherwise, and it always sort of pulled to one side. So what I had to think about, I went through a lot of the dog coats and I was like, what did I like? What did I not like? What worked for me? What didn't work for me? And I'm going to give you my take on a good dog coat, a good basic dog coat. But the first thing that I want to do is talk you through which fabrics we've got for it. So have a think about if you're making a pet coat, and this could be for a cat that goes out for a walk, and you know, it could be anything, I don't know. Why is your pet wearing a coat? And there are lots of reasons. One of my friends has kept us massively entertained with her dog Jellybean and the various outfits that Jellybean dons. And her hobby is basically dressing her pets up. And that's fine, and it's been very entertaining. So that's all fine. In which case, you know, whatever fabrics, if you're dressed as a fairy, it really doesn't matter. If we want function and form, then that is a different matter. And we need to then start thinking slightly differently. Do you want one that is going to wick away moisture? Do you want one that is going to dry your dog off after a long walk? Do you want one that is going to keep them dry on a walk? Do you want one that's going to keep them warm? Do you just want one that's going to act like a rain sheet? Like, why do you want a coat? There's no right or wrong. You will have your own reasons. So to that end, I went shopping. And I've got some options for you. Okay, now, part made is Eric's coat this morning. And I will show you that. So when I was saying to this, why do I have such big dogs? It's ridiculous. This is the start of Eric's coat. And we will make another one. And there it is. Very smart, very swish, very, very basic and easy to make. Okay, and we're going to talk through lots of different ways, different finishes for you, should you require them. Oh, nearly got that in my tea. So what I have made that one with is one of two things. Firstly, let me show you the rest of the offcut. What we've done is bundle today this fabric. Now this is a waterproof fabric, so it's got your dog paws on there. It's not going to rip or tear or anything like that. And then it's almost like, not quite a neoprene, but let me see. I'm just trying to think which angle is best. There we go. So you've got that on the underside. It's obviously nylon or something like that. That doesn't even say on there. And this is Eric's stunt double, by the way, if he doesn't behave today. This is what I've put on the outer. Now, you can make entire dog beds and stuff them and they will be waterproof. If you quilt them, just bear in mind that every needle prick through here will allow water in. All right, so that's one thing to just bear in mind. But you could do your entire dog bed out of that, put it in the boot of your car, stuff it with a duvet, and they will be super, super comfy, and you're good to go. Okay. Or you can use it. To be honest, for most dogs, we've bundled this with a metre of that with a metre of this gorgeous toweling here. And if you want this toweling, which goes with it, then we've got 1 metre of the toweling and 1 metre of that bundled together, and they coordinate. We've got some of that by itself. And if we run out, I will just order more, but it would just be on a bit of a delayed dispatch. But there's plenty for everybody. So we've got it in the blue. We also have the same combos over here. Let me just move this. You're being very good, Eric, by the way. We've also got it in red here. So you can see how wide that is. So if you want red dog beds, again, you've got that black backing on there. And this is your waterproof. All of the details on this are on the website, www.natashamakes.com. So I've got it in red, and I've also got it, and so you can have it with your red toweling, should you wish. Okay, there's your navy toweling there. There's your red toweling there. And then, that's not gonna stay, is it? The other option is the green. So Eric's going to have a blue one, Maudie's going to have a green one, and Margot will have a red one. I'll be quite chuffed. So yeah, I think that's really smart. I think spaniels and working breeds are going to look gorgeous in that. Just, you know, that's just mine. Now, we've also put on the show today, because Gemma said we had to, the bamboo, the bamboo toweling there. We've also added a silver, which is on its way, which is super gorgeous. So the colorways that you've got here, this is your rose pink, your blue, your white, your cream, your teal, your taupe, and your dark grey. They are the colours that we've got. If you want bamboo, she said, oh, my Susie Woo, her dog, she said, oh, I think that she'd want that bamboo, that super absorbent, soft bamboo. This is really lovely soft toweling. And if you bought the white toweling that we had the other day, it's exactly the same. It's just coloured. This is just dyed. That's all. So it's toweling, double-sided toweling. It might just be that you want to just make dog towels for the car, for end of dog walks or whatever, in which case this stuff is great, absolutely great. And it's lovely and soft. And it's super wide. All right. So you've got that option. So if you wanted to, you could make a waterproof bed, waterproof on the bottom, toweling on the top, and then you could decide which way you wanted the bed to be. So if they get in and they're super wet, you could give them a rub down on this, then flip it and put them on the side that's not going to let any more through. Do you know what? It's up to you. So we've got that fabric choice. We've also got the bamboo for you, and that's going to be really absorbent as well. The other thing that I've got, which I thought might be really useful, did your kids, when they were little, ever have mattress protectors that were terry toweling on one side and then PU on the other, so that no damp went through onto the mattress? Yeah. So Eric has a mattress in the sitting room for his bed because he's so huge. And this is what we cover it with. And I just fold it over and run some elastic in there so it pulls underneath the mattress, so that if he has any accidents, because he's nearly 11 and things aren't quite as, you know, where they should be. There's the odd accident, isn't there, Eric? Let's be honest. He's like, all right, don't embarrass me. Then this is also absolutely fab. Let me show you this. This is ridiculously wide because look, this is folded in half. So this will do bed protectors, mattress protectors. Woo! It's just by my feet. Let me show you this. Here we go. So that is PU there, so that's not going to let any damp through. So again, if you are making a coat for a smaller dog and you just want just a little bit of warmth and you want it to be waterproof, then this might be you know, a layer that you add in. This is the thing, you can add in layers. Again, this is down to personal preference. What type of breed do you have? Why are you putting a coat on it? But this is lighter weight than this, okay? So for me, this goes on Eric's mattress just as another layer in case the cat decides to have a pee. You know, the numerous things that happen, let alone the fact that this also goes on Emily's cot bed as well. It's really, really useful. And if you're making changing mats or play rugs or anything like that, that's also a really good one for kids, dogs, anything. Right, let's have a look at some furry things here. If you are doing a coat for them that is just to keep them warm, doesn't matter about getting wet, or if you want something to wick away damp, this is what you want, okay? And we've had numerous coats out of fleece for the dogs over the years. Super B, our Baxter, our Ridgeback, she had one. And she used to go crazy every time you put it on her. I don't know if it was static or what, but she absolutely loved it. And it was literally this with binding around the edge. She didn't have pink, she had red. But it was literally just one layer of fleece like this with binding around the edge. And that was that. Like, it was really, really, really simple. So you could have fleece as your inner if you want it to be, and you can feel the warmth coming off it. I mean, these are incredibly warm. So if you wanted, you could have that in the middle, and then you could have that to keep it from getting wet on the outside. And again, these are the sorts of things that if you're just starting out and you're unsure, it's not going to, it doesn't fray. So this is the sort of thing that you can just throw on top of a bed if you want to wick away moisture, put it on the back seat of the car when the dog gets in wet. And again, it's easy to just bung through the wash. You don't have to bind it, you can just cut it. It's entirely up to you. It's just a fleece. It's like, you know, and it's not terribly expensive, and it's just a great one. I have numerous ones of these that just go on top of their dog beds, and then when they come in wet, they're still warm and snuggly. And then once it's wicked away the wet, it just goes in the washing machine. It washes, wears, comes back out, goes back on again. Easy, easy peasy. Or you might want to make the actual dog coat from this. It's entirely up to you. You could make an entire dog bed out of this. Now, again, dog beds are entirely preference. There will be some of you that will say you want to make it this sort of size, that you would have just two pieces of this, either zigzag or overlock the pieces together, leave a turning through gap, turn through, stuff or fill with it. I'm a big filler with it because our dogs are so big. And this is the other thing, isn't it? It's like, what sort of dog bed do you want? So for me, when I used to make for the Dogs Trust, I did quilted tops, and then I backed in fleece. I overlocked round, put them right sides together, overlocked around the outside, turned through, and then just top stitched around the edge to keep everything in place so that they could be thrown in the wash. And that worked really well. And because they always say, don't they, that the dogs at the rescue centres, when they have a blanket that looks like it's been homemade, they get rehomed faster because people can imagine them in their homes better. I don't know, it's just the weird way that people's brains work. So it's always nice to do that. And I used to take all the scraps off the show and make dog beds and take them down to the Dogs Trust, which is just down the road from us. So yeah, and that was the easiest way. So if you've got, like Helen was saying that she worked on a quilt top the other day that she did in like 2013, and she's like, oh, I was just looking at it and there are just so many mistakes I wouldn't make now. Well, why not turn it into a dog bed? For me at the moment, my girls are still under 2. They're just over 1.5 years, and they still chew. So what I found is, if I put, because you can put zips on these, if you've got our zip on a roll, great, because you can put the whole length. You can put a zip down the whole length. I'm a big believer in putting duvets in dog beds. We recycle them off our beds. Once they've done a season or two, they go in the dog beds. They can be washed, or you can pick them up really inexpensively from the supermarket. They can go in, and then, in which case you're basically making a duvet cover. In which case all you need to do is, again, sew round the outsides. And with these, you can leave that raw, and you can just put poppers along like the plastic cam snaps that we had yesterday, but, or you could hem it, you could roll hem it if you've got a roll hem foot. So many different ways to do this. What I would say is, just if you know you've got a chewer, mine will go for the poppers. And if they're on their bed and they feel a popper, they'll be like, something to chew. So I can't put, for my pups at the moment, I can't put poppers and I can't put zips, because they're the things that they will then chew. Never mind the fact that they've got bones and goodness knows what galore in their beds. No. If they feel something like that, they have a good old chew. I'm hoping they will grow out of it, because all of our other dogs have always just had fleece sewn round and just done as a duvet cover, with a duvet inside. And that's been super snug, fits any bed, any size. You can throw it in the boot of the car. You can take the duvet out to wash it. You can wash the top separately, and you've always got, these are really, really easy then to just put a fresh top on. It's easy. It's just easy. Or if you want to, then you could do that with a layer of the terry toweling and sew those around together so that the wet just stays on top. All of these options, and then, you know, so I would just sew the terry toweling underneath with the PU, so it gives an additional layer of warmth, but then that PU is going to stop any damp going through into the duvet. So this is the thing, isn't it? I really wanted to give you lots of options, because you know how old your dog is, you know the needs of your dog. If you watch and you quilt, then basically a dog bed is just a quilt. That is all it is. You can put a binding around it, you can stitch around the outside, turn it through, and then just stitch around the edge. I've done lots like that. The hardest thing, I think, for me has been in terms of making a dog coat fit. So that's what I wanted to really focus on today, if that's okay with you guys. Let's just see if there are any questions before we get going. You do imitate the chewing awfully well, my dear. Thank you. I like to think that my years at drama school were not wasted. Do you use a full duvet, or do you cut it and overlock it? So Carol, for mine, I have Great Danes. A single duvet folded in half fits into one of their big beds perfectly. When I used to make beds for the dog trust, and obviously a lot of them are much smaller dogs, I used to cut the duvet in half and just stitch it shut, overlock it shut, and do that. But I find that actually the fold of it just makes it, you know, nicer. So what I tend to do is get a duvet, fold it in half, measure it, and then just make the cover that side. Stuff it. If you want to, popper it. At the moment, because the pups are young, I make the duvet cover much longer and then just fold that under so that I don't have to have poppers or... Eric? Poppers or anything else. He's kind of given the game away, hasn't he? Eric is in the studio. Hey, Eric, do you want to come and say hello? Just backing up. Hey, you just have a sniff. Any other questions? Yeah, Myra said, me too, save old duvets, had to end up getting a plastic bed for Rogue Sam as he destroyed every bed he had. Yeah. I love the pink fleece, but my dogs are all boys. I think that's fun. Eric, sit. Come here. This dog that is nearly, 11, Eric, Would you like to tell everyone what you're doing? Yes, you've got one of the kids' toys. You've destroyed a prop, Eric. You've let rip and destroyed a prop. Thank you so much for that. Amazing. This is why you were never let in studios. Give me that. Give it. Give. Give, give, give. Oh, you've set it off now.
I'm a leopard. I'm sleek and fat. I'm the cousin of a cat, but I live in the wild of the jungle.
I saw you. I can see you.
Love to run.
Rawr. Go on then. So, for the cat lovers, I have got for you, obviously all cats love fleece, right? But this is like velvet. It's just beautiful. Beautiful, beautiful. Do you want to just see if he needs a wee before he gets measured? Thanks. Whoops. Steady on, old chap. He is a little bit wobbly, bless him. Yeah, so we've got this, I don't know if I've got this by the ½ metre or the metre. It is. Jim said, what on earth have you bought this for? I'm like, what do you mean? It's gorgeous. The cat's going to love it. Obviously, the cats like the fleece. They love the fleece. In fact, not just like, they love it. And then this. Oh, this is leopard print velour. Yes, indeedy doody. So I would be covering cushions for the cats with this, basically. It feels so silky and amazing. So it's silky, but then it's got like a furry quality to it. It's pretty amazing. It is pretty amazing. And I've just covered one of their cushions in it, just loosely. Again, so that the cover can come off and be washed. Because HP, obviously she does her sneezing, but it feels phenomenal. You can actually upholster with this as well. It's obviously we all had images of us dancing around in leotards made out of this. Think like the roly-polies do cats, and that was kind of what we realised we'd look like. So we thought we'd better sell it to you guys instead, because clearly that was not a look for our first dressmaking show. You can. Should you wish to make something fabulous out of it, dressmake with it, you can. But it is so soft and gorgeous, the cats are going to love it. Obviously, I put it in the cat bed and they've all ignored it this morning, hence the tiger that was in there that Eric has just stolen. So, yeah. Yeah. So that was that. Now I was answering your questions, wasn't I? Do you use a full duvet? Oh yeah, no, we've done that one. Yes. Yeah, you see, duvets are the way forward, I'm pretty sure. I bought 2 meters of toweling yesterday and bib pattern yesterday. My nieces and nephews are breeding like mad at the moment. Well, you see, there you go. Anything that you've got left over, you can make into stuff for the dogs. Eric, yeah, you fed a cat to the dog, gasp. Yeah, but it wasn't a real one. It wasn't a real one. Yep, got live TV. Eric is beautiful. He's adorable. Yeah, love that toy. I bet it would drive you crazy. There are certain toys I don't mind the dogs accidentally taking / never being seen again, because obviously they're too dangerous for the dogs to have for long. My cat loves quilts. If you put a quilt down next minute, he's lying on it. You see, there you go. There you go. You could always back a quilt in this, to be fair. Never mind a cat bed. That would make PJs. This was our other option. We did think PJs. It's really good fun. It's really good fun. Has it got stretch? Yes, it has. It has got a bit of stretch in there. Don't be afraid of the stretch, just use a zigzag. Just use a zigzag stitch. What it means is that it's basically going to fit any cushion that you shove it through, because it's forgiving. People get worried about using stretch. But honestly, it's fine. You'll be fine. You'll be fine. You see Bet Lynch, yeah. If you needed one, you could do that. My cats have claimed all our quilts, little monkeys, but they do that. That's a cat's prerogative. You are their human. You know, you are here to serve them / give them everything they want. Right. Obviously, now we've got to the measuring part of the show, and Eric's disappeared. I'm sure he'll be back. So in my thinkings behind this show, I wanted to do a coat for Eric because, well, a couple of reasons. You know, he is getting on. He's an old boy. And let's get rid of that now. Might need Eric standing. Actually, yeah, I'll do this first. And I had to think about places that dog coats, when they've been bought either off the peg or when I've given his measurements, where they haven't quite fit the way that I wanted. Here we go. So the measurements, I've decided, is he ready?
Well, he's chilling on his bed in the lounge, and how you move however many stone of Dane. Chilling.
Yeah.
Do you have some treats?
I do have treats. We'll get him in a minute. I've got his stunt double. Whoops. Got his stunt double, be fine. Trying to ever get him to stay on that bed in the lounge is impossible. Right. So there are a few measurements that we're going to take from Eric. The first one is from the nape of the neck where the collar sits to the base of the tail. We're going to take that measurement. And when you get the Making Your Own guide, you will get all of these shown and space to write them down along with the dog's name and the date. Josh, I sent this to Josh this morning, went, could you make this look nice, please? And he's like, yeah, sure, I'll do that for you. So yours won't look like this, it'll look nice. I just need stretch these days, no yoga involved. Do you know what? Yeah. Although I am on a mission to combat the lockdown lard. I'm going to do alternate fast days or something like that. I had my first one yesterday and woke up in the night with a mega migraine, which just shows me I've been drinking far too much coffee. Yay! Everyone loves a migraine on a show day. So we digress. Nape of the neck, where the base of the collar sits down to the top of the tail. That is your A, and you will write that in. B is going to be under the belly. So from behind the front leg, here, to in front of the back leg, if they are female. If they are male, something's going to get in the way there, right? So I would do it leaving enough space, to leave enough space so that they don't pee on their coat. All right, let's just, is what it is, isn't it? So, you know, we'll measure to there, and the picture is graphic, sorry about that. And then C is going to be in front of any, you know, boy bits around there and around here, because for me, I want the coat to come and sweep down and then sweep up. So I want it to be along that belly. So we're going to get the circumference so that we can make a really easy coat. And we'll take that measurement all the way round. Then we're going to take a measurement just behind that front leg and see how wide that chest. So it's basically the chest underneath there on him. We are going to take the collar, we're going to take the collar measurement there, and then we're going to take the measurement from where we want the top of the coat to sit, and we're going to take that measurement down to where we want it to go here. And that's basically just that bit there, so that it doesn't, I tried the coat I made on Eric on Margot, our other Dane, and I was like, oh God, because Eric was asleep. I was like, I didn't want to wake him up again. He's been trying out his pattern all morning. And I was like, oh goodness, it was restricting her front leg movement. But of course, Margot is female. While she's as tall as Eric, she's not as deep as Eric in the chest. He's very deep chested. So on Eric, it sits beautifully. It comes round there and it doesn't interfere with that leg movement at all. And we'll look at that as well when Eric comes, when he deigns to join us again. No pun. So yeah, so that measurement is quite vital there to make sure that you get the depth at the front just right, so that it's not going to impede any movement. And then what I also want And you can do this either from this measurement at the middle of the chest there to just behind where you made that D measurement, so you know the front bit of the coat, or you can measure it from the front all the way to how long you want it at the back. You could do that. That might actually be the better measurement to take. So they're the measurements that we're going to take, and I will show you that again on Eric when he decides to come, and then it'll all become clear. The actual making of the coat is the easy bit, believe you me. Oh, happy anniversary, Sil. I hope you don't have a second anniversary in lockdown. Oh, well, yeah. Sil has the most beautiful family. When she puts photos of her family, they're like model looks, all of them. They're gorgeous. Oh, Josh says the dog measuring guide is nearly done, promise. Josh, there's more to add to that. So this is just the first bit of it, and I'll finish it off this afternoon. What else? Right, okay, no other questions. Let me get that Dane. Eric, are you ready for your close-up? Come on. Eric, on your feet.
Good boy.
On your feet. Come on. That's the one. Good lad. Huh?
He'll listen to you.
Of course he'll listen to me.
How many stone of Dane?
12.
Was I trying to move?
12 stone of Dane, and you are not 12 stone of person. Right, Eric, come on. We've got measuring to do. And people are just hearing our voices and not actually seeing anything. Have you still got that poor that poor cat? Come on, over here, please. Right. So everybody, this is Eric. Eric, this is everybody. Do you want to sit? Sit. Good boy, Eric. There you go. Can we leave him there now? Good. So let's have a look. What I would say is get them on their feet to make these measurements. I should have had something to lean on, shouldn't I? Eric's obviously now going to lie down, which is, not what he does most of the time. So on your feet, on your feet. No, that's lying down, isn't it? Eric, come on your feet. Good boy, on your feet. So we want nape of your neck there. It's down to there. Right. So we are looking at about 79 centimetres. I do 76 it says there. So obviously this is not, you will take the time to do this. Eric, come on, up, come on your feet. Good boy. No, up. Now, no. Oh, Eric, come on your feet. Good boy. No, on your feet. You're not having a snack for sitting down. On your feet. Thank you. These measurements are going to be taken when they stand up. Eric now thinks he just has to sit for a snack. But luckily, I did take the measurements earlier. Whilst you're there, I will just take the base of the neck measurement around there. And that is 50. So that was E is 50. What I will show you, come on your feet. Good boy. Come on your feet. This is his coat so far. Let me show you this. And I've done one to fit him there. So on this one, what we've got is it sitting nicely there. It's not going to cut into his legs at any point. On your feet. Come on. Good boy. And it's going to come nicely down to the base of his tail. You can see there. And what we will just do, there we are. There's a good boy. And so it just comes nicely along there and then up to here. And it's not going to flap around here. And we will, at some point today, put a nice band that's going to go round there to stop everything from flapping. And then that's nicely on his leg there. And that will be fabulous, won't it, Eric? Yes, it will. Yes, it will. you, honestly. Yeah, no, it's a good job we loves you, isn't it? Eh? And then just slide it off. Right, you can go back on your bed. Bed. Now you can do the whole lying down thing. Sit, lie down, down. Good boy. Well, you know, they do say never work with animals or children, don't they? So it's not really a surprise that he is. Like back in the day, when he used to do film and stuff, you would insist that he do his standing up and whatnot. Now I kind of think, oh, his back legs are going a little bit, and so I feel a bit bad. So you'll get away with that, Eric, today. It's not your best moment, was it? Eh? It's like, I don't care. I'm just going to sleep in here. Haha. Right. Let's have a look at how we're going to make this pattern. So, Elizabeth says she wants to cuddle Eric. Yes, he just sits on you. He does think that he is just a big dog, yeah, he just thinks he's a big lap dog, basically. Let me just transfer then these measurements that I made earlier. I'm sorry, we tried. E was the neck. Where was F? E was that one. I've labelled these all differently, of course. Obviously. Right. Was that a message? Just, yeah, never work with animals. That's it. Who's this? Eric is star of print and stage, a film trained Dane. Having said that, he is retired. Mum clearly didn't get the memo, says Gemma. So Gemma likes to rib me regularly that there's one of us that went to drama school and Eric has far better credits to his name than I do, and that's fine. Trudy says, just ordered the dog coat instructions. My friend will be so glad that I'll be able to make some cool coats for her wonderful Danes. The thing is, dog coats are really expensive. Really expensive. Like I say, I've paid for a Dane coat. They start at around £60–70, and when you've got a couple of them, that soon racks up. So we're gonna sort it out. Let me just double check that I've written these instructions down from earlier properly. So C should be. You see, I've done them the wrong way around already. Oh dear. That should be 72. D should be 96. E, what bit was E on here? E was 31. Oh, hang on. Bear with me, everyone. You will do this properly. I've just done one from the other and not stupidly, just not labelled them the same. Right. Okay, so when you have got your measurements here, you have got A, nape to tail. That's in, and these are all in centimetres today. B is down here from there to there, which is 40 centimetres. C is all the way round his belly, just in front of his winky there. So half of 72, which will give me this measurement here, which will then allow for the curve around, and if we want it so that when we put the strap bit on here to keep everything nice and cozy, it will allow for it going round under his tummy a little bit. So half of 72, 35, 36 centimetres. D is this bit, so this is Eric's chest all the way round. That's 96 centimetres, so that's going to be 48 centimetres when I do that half mark. E, this is around his neck, that's 50 centimetres. So that's going to be 25 if I'm just going to measure it there to there if I need that. F from there to there is about 31 centimetres, and here to here is 30. But also if I wanted to add that on to that measurement there, then I know how far it is to there. Or if I want to add G onto A, then that's the whole length of my coat. So the full length should be basically, we're cracking on to nearly a metre there. So, hence why I did buy it by the metre. And this is Eric, and it's the 2nd of Feb. Because then you know when they did it, whether they're a little bit fatter then, a little bit thinner then. And then you need to get yourself. Now I've got pattern paper here. We will have this on the show next week. Hopefully it's on its way. This is because you wanted dressmaking. Okay, so like I say, this is, sorry, my thingy's just crashed. Let's move the dogs out of the way. Here we go. Get yourself some pattern weights. They will be invaluable. We don't need those yet. We don't need the clips yet. Just clearing the way, chaps. And let's just move the ironing mat out of the way because we're not going to need that today either. Here we go. And this is where I wish I had a chihuahua. Actually, do you know what? We don't actually need the cutting mat either. So, obviously, if you have said chihuahua or something, then you won't need to clear quite so much space. But if you have a great big boy like mine, then yeah. So pattern weights down, get your fabric, this could be newspaper, like don't be precious about it. This absolutely could be, yeah, like I say, it could be newspaper just stuck together. Don't worry about it. We will have proper pattern paper on the show next week, I believe, hopefully. Or is it the week after? Gosh, I lose track of the days. In the next couple of weeks, anyway, we will have that. We've got the pattern weights. They're there if you want them. And also coming are these. These are dressmaking rulers. Again, we will have these on the show in a couple of weeks' time. I think it's the 15th, so that's not next Monday, as it's the Monday after. If you don't have these in your life, that's absolutely fine. They make life easier, whether you're dressmaking, dog making, or whatever. And we are getting these in. They are on their way. But I mean, it's not essential. And if you're doing it's only because I suddenly thought, oh, hang on a minute. If I want to do a curve, then this is the easy way to do it and just join up those dots. So let's make a start here for Eric. My A mark along here was 76 centimetres. So let's draw a line. That's it to 40. And then another 36. Takes us off the page. Now, then I know that my B measurement here, let's start from here. From this mark here down to the base here, that's D, it was half of D, wasn't it? So that's 48. So from this mark here, I'm going to drop down and mark off. Need another, what's that? That's 43. Let's add on another, get it the right way around, add on another 5. So that takes us to there. So that is my mark. That's how deep my coat for Eric is going to be. If I want to shorten it, I can, and we're going to look at that with this mark there. So then my B mark, which my B measurement takes me along 40 centimetres to here. And if I go up 40 centimetres and mark there, and then look to measure the 2, put in a line between the 2, that's going to give me my C measurement there. So from there to there, we've measured that distance, and then we're just going to put in that half C measurement because we don't want the whole amount going round. We just want half that mark, which was 36. So that brings it to there. And then all I'm going to do is look at the best way to join up those marks, like so. So already we're starting to get this jacket looking good. Now, if we just go up to here, this is where you need to think. So this is the end of the coat. Now, do you remember with Arthur's coat, Arthur's old coat, where did I put it? It sort of went down like that and covered his back legs, but actually it just got in the way and it got really muddy. So for Eric's, what I want is for it to just kind of sweep up like that. Where are you going? Oh, hi, just joining him. So I might want like quite a deep curve down like that, in which case I'll give that a go, and then just find the best way. Eric, you're going through the bin. Seriously? Join that up to there. And, you know, don't be afraid. If you want more of a curve or whatever, this is your dog's coat. So, you know, if you want more of a curve coming round, then do. You've got all sorts of angles on these to use. So it might be that that's come down there like that. Maybe you want a little bit more there, or maybe you want to use more of this curve here to come round. Have a play. See what is going to feel right for you. You can always taper that off. What are you eating now? Oh my goodness me. But have a little play at getting that at the angle that you want it to be. But I do want it to come down and cover his bottom, and then I want it to just sort of taper up like that. That's why I say, like, these aren't essential. They're a good help, but they're not essential. And having that nice and straight when it comes down there is all good. Well, you've got yourself stuck, haven't you? Yeah, go on, go back on your bed. Okay, so that's basically the back end of the coat. Now let's look at the front end here. So we've made all of these measurements so far, and we've basically got this bit of the coat measured out. Now we need to look at the front end here. So this is as far down as we want it to come. We measured to how far that's going to be just behind his leg. And then this measurement here tells us how far it needs to come round to the front. So my G measurement was 30. So, whoops, I've got little bumps on here, haven't I? So if I just take, so going forwards, I'm going to need to cut this to come round about 30. So that's where my 30 mark is going to be, about to there. And you can, it's generally 3, isn't it? They say that you should do 3 marks. There we go, to there. Okay. So we now need to join this up to here, and that down to there. What I've found with Eric is that sometimes this gapes a bit. His neck is often shorter than I think. So I'm going to put in a curve down to there, And just bear in mind that I want it to be sort of straight, but I also want this, I want this to come down straight-ish. And then I want to find a way to make those sort of curve and line up. Again, you can either do it, if a ruler works, then great. If it doesn't, then there's the old twisting the arm job. It's, you know, it's entirely up to you. Just know this is going to be cut on the fold. So if you do it like that, when it's cut the other way, it's going to be quite steep like that. So I would make sure that this will come down straight, so that when that carries on around the other side, if you can imagine, it's going to go round in a curve. But I'm going to show you how to make all of these adjustments. So don't panic. The same with here. You want that to come straight on there, so it carries on straight round his chest. Now this measurement F was about 31 centimetres. So if I measure down 31, that takes us, whoops, down to there. And that means that we can just carry that coat on. Now, if you've got a smaller dog, these rulers might not be right for you. But there we go. We've now got a nice sweep that's going to go round and up. This is the front here. Right. At this point, let's think about how we're going to fasten this coat. So for Eric, all I did, I put a seam down there, and this is large enough, which is why I always go quite large on these, so that it just hooks over his head. Okay. And you can see, like, this is the original one. Now this might be too deep coming around here, but the beauty of this is, I might have misread some of my measurements because, you know, I had the whole transferring thing going on. It doesn't matter because we're making this on him. So what we will do is paper cut this out. If you want to do this so that you have a Velcro flap at the front, add that Velcro flap on now. And all that need be is that added on, and that's your strip of Velcro, and then you'll have the same strip the other side. If you want it to be longer, make it longer. But I'm gonna sew that front bit down. It's the easiest. This is just another point where it can come undone. And that's what I've found, because mine play in their coats. And yeah, I just want it to be, you know, really good. If you are going to put your two fabrics right sides together, sew around here and then around the neckline and turn it through, perfect. In which case, add a seam allowance. I've got a natty tool coming for adding seam allowances on also another time. Otherwise, you can use a gauge. You can decide how big you want to. This is, that's an inch, so you could always just keep, well, if you've got a pen that's going to go through, or here, this is 2.5 centimetres, or if you want a seam that's 1.5 centimetres, just mark off all the way along and then join your dots. It's up to you. For me, I put a binding around Eric's, all the way around Eric's. I don't know what I've got underneath this that the rulers keep on catching on. I didn't give it a wipe down, so all sorts of bits and bobs. So for me, I know that I am safe to cut this on the line without a seam allowance because I'm going to bind it. And that just means, especially if you're using the fleece or anything with any stretch in it, you don't have to worry about sewing a stretch fabric, because you will clip it with all of that on and then all that you'll do is sew your binding. So your foot will be on your binding. It's not going to be on any stretch fabric. So it takes all of that worry out. So that's great if you're working with fleece. Now, the fitting. That, oh, hang on. Got stuff under here. So I'm just going to cut this out with my paper scissors. What I would say is, don't throw this paper away. We're going to take this to the dog. Wish me luck. Eric, come on your feet. Good boy. Now, good boy. Let's see. That goes to the front there. That then is going to be halfway along there. Now this is just skimming his leg there. So I might want to make that slightly shorter there. Just fold it. It's okay. And then this is at the nape of his neck there, coming round, yeah, slightly too deep there. So I'll make that fold there. Good boy. And then just double check that I'm happy. You see now, look, when that's round there, that's going to sit there. That's going to go down to there. That's going to go there. That's going to sweep there. If you've got another pair of hands to help you, great. You know when I said that it will sit quite far, that is the base of his neck, but actually his collar sits to there. So there is a discretion of that much, which I might just add on, Eric. You see, this is the superstar. Good boy. Now sit. Hey, can you chew and sit? Sit. Hey, sit. Good, sit. Good boy. Now down. Good boy, down. There we are. So. Oh, no, wrong one. Come back this way. There we go. Okay, so we have discovered that we would like to bring this up a little bit, and that this doesn't need to be quite so far over, and that this possibly sat a little lower than actually maybe I wanted. This is the beauty of using pattern paper, is that it's just there. It's just there for you to then do whatever you need. So what I can do is just bring that in a gentle curve around. Up to there. That's no problem there. And do you remember I said that I also wanted to bring this across a little bit? So what I would suggest you always have handy is a little bit of sticky tape. Just stick it back together. Like no one's going to know, are they? Oh gosh, what a dreadful pattern maker you are. What? So we said we were going to elongate this by about that much, didn't we? And again, you'll take this back and you'll check. Do you remember that I said I don't want it on a slant because otherwise it's going to cut like that? I want it nice like that. So what I've got to do is drop that directly down and bring that round to there, and that will then give me a nice sweep round like that. If I wanted to Velcro the front, then I would leave that so that the Velcro could be attached there, hook and loop, whatever you want to call it, but I don't, so I will remove that and cut that off. And this is like you would fit anything, and you know, as much as you've taken those measurements and you think those measurements are right, if you send them off to someone to make that dog coat and they're not, you're going to get a dog coat that's, you know, okay, but not exactly how you want it to be. And if you're anything like me, you've got opinions on it. Yeah. There we go. And I would take that back to Eric. I would check it on him again. Let me just double check how that now matches what I made earlier. Yeah, you see, look, this is now sitting pretty much, you know, you've got your seam allowance there to just sew those two together. It's sitting slightly higher there, that's fine, and slightly longer through there, but that is pretty much how I made this earlier. So that's twice now getting pretty much the same coat using those measurements, okay? And then all I would do is well, I'll show you. Are you with me? Was that wasn't too complicated, was it? No. I hope. Eric is the star. Oh, we've had that. Considering his age, Eric did very well. Laurie says, I know you love your animals. I'm curious, is Stephen as mad about animals, or has he just learnt from you? So when I first met my husband, he had 2 Rhodesian Ridgebacks. So he's always been dog crazy. Although he really just likes big dogs. He's not so keen on little dogs. And he'd always wanted a Dane. He'd always wanted a blue Dane. So actually Margot was his 50th birthday present because he'd always wanted a blue Dane. Yeah, like Maud, our otter hound, is not his idea of a great dog because she's always got a wet lady beard, and he's not a massive fan of that. But if ever, and horses he'd never really been around, but and cats, he said that I was, yeah, one cat away from being on the crazy cat lady scale when he first met me, which, you know, I'm comfortable with. At some point I had 5 cats. So, yeah. And with regard to the horses, he did try and learn to ride, and then we were out, I think it was only his second or third time riding, and we were attacked by a dog, I mean, it was either a very long-legged staffy or it was a pit bull who'd obviously been taught to jump and grab hold, and that was exactly what he did to Stephen's boot. And he was on my old boy Oscar, and I was on a friend's horse, and Stephen was just sitting there looking at me going, what do I do? Because this dog was just hanging off his boot. Nice. And Oscar, bless him, was such a good boy. He just stood there like, don't really know what I'm meant to do either. Managed to get the dog off, and then the dog went for Oscar's chest, and at that point Oscar went, I've had enough, and bolted, and Stephen came off, and days in hospital, and it was, so anyway, he doesn't ride anymore, is the moral of that. And we tried to find the dog didn't have a collar, didn't have anything, and it had obviously been used for fighting. It was really sad. So that put Stephen off riding, understandably. But if ever there is a horse or anything in trouble, he will always say, of course it can come here. He's good like that. And when Kai had colic, because he had an abscess where you don't want one, you know, no quibbles about it. We send him, and actually this was Inga, bless her. She used to be a horse transporter, and she said, look, when a horse has colic, you send them straight away. You don't wait to see, because the horses you send straight away come home. And yeah, like he never ever quibbles. If there's an animal in trouble, we do what it takes, and that's the end of that. And he was out this weekend putting a new door on the duck house, and so yeah, we probably have far more. He says we are at capacity. So we probably have far more than he would be comfortable with normally. Somehow we get away with it. But no, he does now have a 1 in, 1 out rule. So he thinks. Yeah, but no plans for any more. Honest. My mum also breathes a sigh of relief. Right, okay, so we digress. But it is funny, isn't it? I mean, like Eric has had me on film sets and all sorts of stuff that I never really expected to ever be on. And the lady that trained him, I said to her, the deal is if you train him, you train me. Once I was trained, it meant that all of the dogs that she trains are trained to the same command. So I could take any of her dogs on set. So if anyone was ill or whatever, I could go, right, I'll take that dog. And there was a kids show that had a dog in it, and I ended up down at the BBC doing stuff for that. Jill, the lady that I used to work for, her dog was Wellard in EastEnders. 3 generations they went through of her dog before they realised that Wellard was possibly the oldest dog ever and they need to kill him off. That was quite sad. And like she's an amazing trainer. Eric did the Aldi advert, was it 2 years ago? After Christmas, and a couple of guys out jogging with Eric, and one says something, surprise to the other, and whoop, Eric takes them. He's had pages in Tatler. He's modelled for VW. He's done a dog documentary. He's done all sorts of stuff. He's done loads of YouTube stuff. He did. His first film that he did was for the BBC, and that was called In the Best Possible Taste. And he had loads of scenes with Catherine Kelly. And when I went on set with them, because they did some filming in Wales and some in London, and I rock up with Eric, and all these famous people are like, oh, it's Eric. Can we come and see him? Like, kind of thinking that's like meant to be me going, oh, can I have your autograph? But no, they all wanted to come and see Eric. It was really sweet. So he's, yeah, for a boy that was a rescue, we were his 4th home in 6 months. And you were not easy, were you, Eric? You had opinions, quite strong ones. Yes. What made him so great for film. And Eric didn't get the gig for the 118 ad. That was Arthur and Baxter did that one with me, dressed as one of the 118 men. 5 o'clock in the morning, moustache, wig, the shorts, the lot, full what have you. But Arthur, my spaniel, was the star of the show. We had 15 dogs on set that day. They closed off some of the streets in London so that we could film the advert. And they had 15 dogs that had to, and 60 extras, all dressed as 118 men, like running. And the dogs were all being held by handlers around the corner. All the runners were the other side of the street. And the dogs had to come as a pack round the corner and then come and mingle through the people as we then ran down the street. It would have been carnage if it wasn't for my spaniel Arthur, who was such a mummy's boy that the minute he was released, he was there by my side like a shot. And so he brought all the other dogs with him. And he was just awesome. He was absolutely awesome, but he was a bit of a scaredy dog, and that was really the only thing that he ever really wanted to do. So yeah, I mean, having dogs has led us to do all sorts of weird and wonderful things. And out of our dogs now, I think it will probably be Maud who will go on and do dog training when lockdown and everything is over. I would imagine she's done crufts. She's not worried about crufts. She's qualified for the next cruft when that happens. So yeah, all goes on. All goes on. Just, you know, in between shows. It's all going on. Right, where did we get to? Right, so yeah, I will show you then how to then do this and cut this. Let's move these out of the way. Sorry, we digress a little bit there. Hey, champ. You all right, Wobbler? Yeah. Do you know what? Out of everything, it's just his back legs that are starting to let Eric down a little bit. The spirit is willing, isn't it? Hey? For everything else, the spirit is willing. Yes, it is. You've come for a snack, haven't you? There you go. Good boy. So, would you like a fleecy coat as well, Eric, from when we go out in the van? Matching one in blue? Yes? What do you think? Do you like that? Yeah, okay. This matches his eyes, actually. So, if we've cut this to 1 metre, yeah, we should pinch. Actually, I've made this one slightly deeper. So I'll just, you can see the first line that I made there. We'll go up to there. Right. So the moral of this story is, if you have a Dane, maybe go this, you will probably get it on 1 metre of fabric. And then, but this is just going to be for his little fleecy number. And all I'm doing is, let me know, by the way, if you want like a definite pattern for dog beds, then I can create that for you, obviously, no problem. What I would just say is that in terms of washing and stuff like that, I have always found just duvets. Duvets have just been our, what are you doing, Eric? Duvets have just been our friend. And I'm pretty practical when it comes down to stuff like that. The first wash that goes on in the morning is the dog's beds. And then they have nice fresh new ones for the day. There we go. So, all I've done here is just, my fabric is folded. So this is on the fold line here. And again, just make sure that everything is smoothed out. This is so incredibly warm. I was wondering about, did I need to do 2 layers? If you want to put a waterproof outer, like with this fabric, well, then do, you know, absolutely do. But honestly, don't worry about it. I think you will be fine just with this as just a 1 layer if you're keeping them warm. And to be honest, when we've had fleece dog beds for like dog coats rather, when Baxter had hers, and she loved hers, hers was just 1 layer. And this is where you want to have either, I mean, our electric shears are pretty good. You can either draw around or cut around depending on how confident you feel. Here we go. These are my new go-to for pretty much everything. Now, oh, I see. We're having a little bark about it, are we? I'll tell you this now, right? Because Eric's mark has come out. So Eric is trained to a mark, which for him is a big block, and they get smaller and smaller the better trained they get. And so that when they're on set, if they've got to move anywhere, they will go to their mark, so that all the camera angles and everything are trained. And his mark has come out. So for Eric, he then likes to run through all of his tricks, and this is one of them. So Eric, sit, 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 sit. No, that's lying down, isn't it? But the one thing that you do, and everybody does it to him, as soon as they see him, they go, oh, hasn't he got the most amazing eyes? But this, Eric, speak. Speak. Eric, speak. 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 That's it. Speak. 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 Come on. Speak. That's it. Good boy. And it's quite handy being able to get your dog to bark on command, but that's his little party trick. And the number of times that people have gone, oh, look at his eyes, and he's gone, laugh. I'm like, you know, that's kind of his command to speak. So when you have dogs on film, they have to be trained for a verbal command, but also they'll be trained for a non-verbal. So Eric, good boy. Because obviously you can't talk over the top of actors. So if you need Eric to bark, you can't be like, bark, bark, speak, speak. So he'd always have, yeah. So he's just, basically what I'm saying is he's just showing off because he can. So good luck with that, Gemma. Gemma, how much do you weigh? Not 12 stone, is it? No. Not declaring that. Just saying, couldn't possibly be anywhere near it, Gem. No. Eric has left the building, bless him. So just rearrange my weights so that I can get a good cut there. Our electric scissors actually would have done this, wouldn't it? I don't know why I'm trying with a pair of scissors. All of my dogs, when we used to live in Cornwall, all of my dogs had toweling robes. There you go, look, there's enough there for a cat bed. Perfect. Yeah, all of my dogs had toweling robes. So when they came off the beach and they were absolutely soaking wet, they all had toweling robes. So that they could dry off, and they'd just spend the journey home in their toweling robes, bamboo toweling robes, and then when they got home they'd be dry. Perfect, absolutely great. I need to make one for Maud. I really need to make one for Maud. So that is pretty much where I need to be with this for Eric. Now all I would do is twist it round the other way, sew a seam down there, and then just put some binding around there, and that will be it. What I do want though is to have something that's going to keep this round his tummy, and that is key. Now I've got a few other things. Hook and loop tape here. So what you can do is run a strip down there if you want, and a strip on the other side, and then you can secure it that way, easy. If I was doing it, so this, all I did with this, so imagine that I've cut out this outer, all I've done is cut out the toweling, put one on top of the others with the right sides out, so wrong sides together, and then I've just put a binding on. That's it. You can see there's the seam there and the binding on. If I were going to put hook and loop tape down here, then on this raw edge I would bind it. So I would have bound down there, and then sewn on the Velcro. Actually, I'd have to do one that side and then one the other, so that it would sit over like that. Okay, so that's if you want to go that way. Other fastenings that I've seen have been strap buckles, and for something Eric's size, if I wasn't doing this as an over the head job, some dogs don't like over the head, that's absolutely fine. If I wasn't going to do it as an over the head job for him, and that's got, you know, a nice secure seam there, I would do a strap buckle across the front there. There's your strapping. I've got 2 sizes. And again, all of this is just coming down to personal preference. How rough is your dog? Does it play with other dogs? Do they play rough? Is Velcro not going to withstand it? Does it have a long coat? Does it shed its coat a lot? In which case Velcro might not be the best way for you. So for Maud, she sheds her coat quite a lot. I probably wouldn't put hook and loop or Velcro on her coat. I would probably go more with a strap buckle. Plus she gets in all the undergrowth and everything. So I would want this on the outside because it's super tough, so it's not going to rip. And then for her, she would, well, if it's just to keep her dry, I might just go with 1 layer of that, and that might be it. But the toweling would then keep her dry. If you want it to be super cozy, then instead of the toweling, use the fleece on the inside. I want more, the key with Maud is keeping her dry. So remember, this is our first coat, this is our basic one. So over the head makes it easy, or if you want to, there's your strapping, just stitch it on. And you know, when you stitch these things on, the best way to sew them, let me draw it on here for you, is, so there's your, and this is your stitching. So you go round across all of it, and then you want to cross across, go back across and around, and stitching it on in that format, you'll have seen this on all your bags, will then keep everything, you know, really secure. So you'd put that tab on there with one side of your buckle, and then same again to fasten the other side of your buckle. Now, we want to find a way now to secure this belly bit here. And again, this is going to depend on the breed of your dog. Very, very much. This is going to depend on the breed of your dog. If you've got a little dog, just get some strapping and it will be fine. The bigger the dog, obviously, the more expanse there is for things to move around. Now I've already discounted, because Eric doesn't like it very much, having this coming down lower. And do you remember on Arthur's old coat, can you see it comes down low? So with Eric's coat, we've done it so that it goes up, and we've taken all of this away. But if you want it lower, if your dog does get chilly around there, or do you just want that protected, you can see they've put poppers here, poppers there, and elastic, a length of elastic that then just poppers on either side. So if you don't want it, you can take it off, but otherwise their little leg sits in there, and that just holds then that in place. Now, your other option is to put basically a belt around the middle. And again, with a small dog, like, you know, spaniel-sized Arthur, and he wore and wore and wore this, and he just had Velcro on his, and that was fine. It was always a bit too loose, and I always meant to change it for him, and never quite got around to it. So again, this is why we make our own. It only ever stuck to like the bottom half, and that was his little tummy, bless him. But with Eric, he's got such, you can see like the angle here, he's got such an angle because he's got such a deep chest, that sway up to his tummy is at quite an angle. So I'm going to make quite a wide belt that's going to come round, and I'm going to do it at this, attach it at this sort of angle. Let me show you. if I do one strap and just attach it like with Arthur's, you know, it'll sort of be okay, but this might waft around a bit. If I do a wider strip and bring it across at an angle there, then that will then tuck under his tummy, and that will then keep everything in place. What that means is I'm going to have to create something that's going to come down at an angle, effectively, like I've just said. And that will just mean that instead of sewing it straight on, I'll just have to sew it at a slight angle like that, which just means that the end will be at an angle rather than straight. And that's it. But again, this is down to the fit of your dog. Now, for Eric, he does still play rough with the girls. So, what? You wouldn't believe it, would you? He wobbles around all over the place. Pam says, such a good boy. He's done better than my children's dogs. There's no way we'll get measurements off them. But you can have another person to help you. If, you know, obviously bubbles allow, then you can do that. At least the coats fit him. I've had a cupboard of dog coats that are no good and can't get them to the rescue pound. Yeah, but you see, that's just it, isn't it? That's why we're going to make our own. My little Shih Tzus are going to love their new coats, though they don't like the rain. So they've never had coats before. At least I'm not spending big to find out that they won't wear them. I was scared to attempt a dog coat, but dachshund coats are tricky to find. There we go. And incredibly expensive. I had fabric left over from making her your sky wrap. Oh yeah, this is Gemma. She had a beautiful sky wrap. She made a matching one with the William Morris. Yeah. All bought from here. They were off cut, so I had nothing to lose. I was thrilled with the outcome. Definitely worth giving it a go. Is it going to have a hole for a harness and lead? Right, let's deal with that. This isn't because Eric doesn't wear a harness. Maud's will. So let's deal with that as well. What I would say is, if your dog wears a harness, like Eric's just got a collar, so that's fine. That will go on normally. Put the harness on, then put this coat on. When you get to this stage, put this on and mark where your harness needs to come through. Mark it on the fabric with something that's going to come off, and just buttonhole it. That's all you need to do on the big buttonhole, the biggest buttonhole size that you can, and just put your buttonhole across there, then obviously cut through it. And that's all you need to do for harnesses, is just do that. So yeah, we'll do that in another demo another day. That's kind of like the next step up. Okay. So for Eric's pyjamas, as they're now going to be called, all I would do, left to do on there, is just do some binding on that. Because this is going to be his indoor pyjamas, I've got some nice satin binding. I will satin bind this so they're his proper pyjamas, because I am that person. Okay. He's my boy. So that leaves us to make, here we are, this. So we know our measurements around here are, let's have a look. We made this measurement here, so we know that to go round D was 96 centimetres, and round C, here, that was 72. If I'm going to do Velcro or hook and loop, whatever you want to call it, then we've got that we've got that chance to adjust. If I'm going to use strapping, then again, I can make it adjustable. So what I'm going to do, and if Eric were here I would measure him, is Here we go. If that is going to go down from about there, down. So I've left space here in case you say you want to put in your harness bit across there, and you can put your harness bit in there. But I want a nice wide strap, and this is going to go all the way around. So let's make it, say, like 16 centimeters. So say, now here's the thing. Do you remember this mark here? This was my C. I don't want this strapping to come past there. Do you remember why? Because of the winky situation. So what I will do is measure just to before then. Let's go in at 15 centimeters. So we're just making it a centimetre smaller, because the last thing you want is them weeing all over their coats. So this is what I will need. It will need to go all the way round. It will need to be basically at least, there's your 96 there, and there's your 72, that marker there. So it needs to be 72 all the way round, plus enough to overlap. So it will be done in 2 pieces, and I will make one. I'll use this and make one to stop there. So I'll use that to create that. The other side of it, and you'll make a whole new pattern piece for this, will then go from there all the way down. But these two cut out together. Let's just do it. Let's simply just do it, shall we? Right. I'll use the edge of the paper. That would be easier. There we go. And then you can curve those ends off, do whatever, you can sew them up, whatever you need them to be. I just need to make sure that this is at least 96, which is his widest point, 96 long. Of course, I've done this the wrong side of the paper. I should have done it going this way. I will wake up in a minute. Right, let's get out the big rulers, shall we? So we are going to make it 5.5 inches wide. There you go. Centimetres, inches, it's all the same. Do-do-do-do. And this will basically be your pattern piece. Now, I'm going to measure this on here. I'm going to round it up to 1 metre long, just because Eric is ridiculously long. So I've added a little bit in, which means that, hang on, there's my 150. I need it to come to there. That's going to give me 1 metre. Okay, but again, I'm going to want to test this on him. Now, I don't know if Eric is anywhere that can come back. So what I'm going to go and do, I'll go and get him and then we can measure it to him. Let's hope he hasn't gone too far. Bear with me, caller. Let me just go and, let me go get him. Eric! Eric! He's hanging out?
He's with the girls.
Oh, is he? Can we get him? Ah, no, he needs to come back. He hasn't finished yet. He's got his tummy bit to do yet. He's on his way. All I want to make sure this does, and let me show you this on here, is, and that's why we're using paper to do it, I want that to go at a little bit of an angle there, okay? So we'll check it for size to make sure it fits around his tummy. And then on here, here he is. Good boy, Eric. Can you see the angle that I want that to be at is different to having it square on? And that's just because I want that to be at an angle. He's back. Come on then, Eric. Good lad. Over here. Come on, chap. Good boy. Now, obviously, I've put the paper in the way. There's a good lad. I'm sorry, this is going to get a little bit personal, just so as you know. I'm going to pop that there and bring that around. And yeah, if that is on there, like so, I don't know how much of this you can see, but basically it's just, yes, I know I've got snacks in my pocket. That's going to come in front of his tummy. That's going to be fine. I want to get that at the angle that I want it at. And then if I need to adjust this on here, then you're going to do that with your paper here and just get it actually on him slightly more of an angle so that that will fit over there. Good boy. Had a boy, aren't you? Hey, good lad. You can go back on your bed now. Come on. Oh, he says I'm all up and down and all over the place. There you go. Snacks. Good boy. So what we have discovered is that in order for that to fit Eric happily, is that my pattern piece needs to be that shape, okay? And then you just cut that out. And again, you could either do this just out of your ripstop, or you could do it out of toweling as well. You could do it out of 2 layers of your ripstop and then bound. And then I would just put hook and loop on there, on the other side. When you come to sew it on, put the coat on the dog, and again mark where it's going to sit. It's just basically like making it for a person, isn't it? But for Eric, it was quite far back, wasn't it? Where it sort of sat where it needed it. So then when that comes around, when that's on him and that's taken up around his body, that will give me enough space there for the Velcro. It will sit at that angle that we've found there. And that's just going to sit really nicely on him. And that's the whole point, isn't it? It's on him, it's for him. So it's trying to make one dog bed to fit everyone was never going to work. So I just wanted to show you as many options. Making your own pattern is the way. Getting those, and I will write up like the basics of now measure this bit to this bit, this bit to this bit, so that you can plan your own pattern. But you've got the measurements that you need there, and then I will write up how I made that pattern. Now you saw twice using those measurements, that pattern came out pretty much the same, bar the odd like ½ centimetre here and there out. That's, I mean, for me, that I know that that's going to be a pattern that's going to work for us. So yeah, just, you know, whether you want to do a wide strip, whether you want to do it with strapping, whether you want to Velcro, these are all your personal choice because you know your dog. And I will finish that off when we come off air, and I will take photos for everybody to see. Oh, he's gone straight back to sleep, bless him. He's no chap, takes it out of him. But I'm not going to ask any more of Eric this morning because I think he's done enough. But let me just see if I've got any questions for you. I've created a hole for the harness, and yeah, buttonhole. Just use your buttonhole setting on your machine, that's all it is. I have a binding foot on my machine, which is a doddle for projects like this. You see, perfect, get these things out. Could you wish John a happy birthday? Yes, of course I can. Happy birthday, John. And what a good boy, that's Eric, yes. Val had to run errands, that's all right. So there we go. Everybody's wishing John a happy birthday. Happy birthday to you, John. And I hope that's helped. Becky, it's like you know us. To be fair, Stephen can have as many rules as he wants. Whether you choose to follow them is another matter. Yeah, Gemma, so you've forgotten that Eric modelled for Mulberry. Yes, he did model for Mulberry. And some rather expensive watch houses as well. We've got the spread that he did in Tatler had £60,000 watches all up his paws, and each fashion house had a different bodyguard in the room, security guard in the room. And when we decided to put the watches up Eric's paws, you could just see them like, is anyone going to say that's not okay to put those very expensive watches? I mean, the least expensive was 60 grand on Eric's paws. Didn't you? Hey? Yes. And then he's there with this 6-stone model draped over him. I mean, if he'd have decided to go, it would have been hilarious. He didn't. He was a very good boy. Thank you, Christine. She said your dog is gorgeous. He's just been he's a good boy. You keep mentioning these wonderful go-to scissors. Do you sell them? And if not, what are they? They are on the website. Yes. They're made in Japan. The blades are made by the guys that make the samurai swords, so they know a thing about blades. But yeah, if you just put in scissors, search in scissors on the website, they will come up. I've just got, in fact, I'm just waiting on the set where you get the big ones and the little snips as well. They're just coming in. When Eric Barney stood in his tracks and looked at the laptop stream. Do you know, yeah, we were saying this, Jane and I were saying this yesterday about animals watching the screen now. And I hadn't realised it's because they're flat. They used to be rounded, didn't they? And animals couldn't see them. But with HD and digital and everything, they can see it better. Do you make your horses and donkeys coats, Natasha? No, I don't, because I feel that horses... Oh, you've opened a can of words with this. In my unenlightened days when I stabled horses, yes, I did. But now my horses live out naturally because it's the healthiest way for them. Horses, you know, we lived on Bodmin Moor and we watched all the wild horses. I'm like, why am I stabling my horses when they can clearly live out? Every single hair on any animal, on a horse, has an erector muscle. So when it's cold, they look a bit fluffier, don't they? And all that is that muscle contracts and lifts the hair enough to trap enough air to act as an insulator. And as soon as you put a rug on a horse, they can't control their body temperature, because what happens to their legs? They can't keep their legs warm, but their body's really warm. So you start messing and getting all sorts of issues. And what I found, and I've got ex-race horses, I've got Arabs, I've got all sorts, donkeys, they all live out They all have shelter, but they all live out and they don't know. We don't have rugs anymore because I've found that they are far healthier and actually hold their weight much better without. As long as they have constant food, long fibres, then that furnace that happens, you know, from metabolising their food keeps them warm. So there we go. I could go on about that for hours because I feel quite passionately about it. But there we go. Our dogs have toweling robes with hoods. We live near the beach. You see, that's just it. That's the next addition on, isn't it? To add hoods. We will do more dog coats. This is like your basic first one. The scissors are not there. Possibly because they haven't arrived yet and we sold the last pair the other day, but they will be going either on today or tomorrow when they arrive. We are expecting them in. Yes, it was the pink one. It was the Soline ones. Yeah, they will be. Yeah, there we go. They are the Soline ones. Susan says nothing else. I'm going to have to get a dog. I mean, there we go. There we go. There we are. Bonkers is word you are searching for, I think. But for me, yeah. Oh yeah, good. Get a rescue. Get a rescue. Lovely. Trouble is, I don't think the cat would like it, or the other half. They get used to it. They get used to it. This is just such a brilliant pattern. I can't wait to kit out my fur babies. Ah, good, good, good. We had a cat first, and then Arthur. So I had Hugo, gorgeous Hugo, and then Arthur arrived. And whenever Arthur was eating, the dog, if Hugo came and wanted that food, Arthur stepped to one side and Hugo had that food. He was the boss. He was Hugo boss. He was absolutely the boss. So, you know, I wouldn't worry about that. Right. There we go. I hope that's helped everyone. And yeah, I hope you've enjoyed meeting Eric. Bless him. And what else? Yeah. Any questions, just, feel free to ask. And I will finish this off and I'll show you. But again, it's like clothing and clothing brands. A lot of it comes down to personal taste, what you want the coat for, why you want the coat, how boisterous your dog is, whether they're allowed on the lead, whether they have a lead, whether they have a harness, all these things. But it means that you can personalise it and you can make it to your dog's shape. So there we go. I hope that you help. Tomorrow is Block of the Month. Lovely Jane is in. She's got Block of the Month for us. So we'll be back again at 10 o'clock. Eric, you've got some more modelling to do. I will see you bright and early tomorrow. Thank you for joining me. Bye-bye.